we are going to get back to Gyökeres in a moment on the show, but this is Rio Ferdinand talking again on Talk Sport regarding this situation, the striker situation at Man United. Let's take a listen.
Broken record. I think if anyone listens to my podcast, I've said Osimhen for a while now. And he's a centre forward, he's experienced, he knows how to score goals at the top level. I see today, I think they're saying that Galatasaray put a £50 million bid in. I mean, £50 million to get a top-class striker, one of the top strikers in the world, is absolute peanuts in today's market. So I'll be disappointed if he goes to Galatasaray for that type of money when Man United, I think, are crying out for a number 9.
Were you disappointed to miss out on Gyökeres?
Say again?
Were you disappointed to miss out on Gyökeres?
I'll be disappointed to miss out on Gyökeres if we don't get a number 9 in. Bye.
Okay. Peanuts, Mark. We're crazy because it's peanuts.
Again, this is the problem, isn't it? Like these people like Rio, they want to be a YouTube influencer or who listens to my podcast. But the only people who are listening to that podcast is when he gets a good guest on, like Ronaldo or someone like that. No one's listening to it for decent football opinion because it's just noise. And that's why he's very suitable to go in on Talk Sport, because it's just noise. And anybody like the majority of this community or any other community like this don't want to just listen to noise. They want to listen to detail. So basically what you've got is, oh, anyone who's listened to my podcast, I've been on about getting Osimhen. Get the contract, get the pen, sign it up. And the reality is, I want Osimhen. Any United fan wants Osimhen, but where's he been for the last 4 weeks? Like the reason we're not getting Osimhen is because Galatasaray are going to give him £250,000 a week net after tax. Now, I don't know what the tax rules in Turkey are, but 250 grand a week net in the UK, and you might know this better than me, Terry, we're talking north of 400k a week, aren't we? If you want to clear 250 a week, you've got to be north of 400k.
Well, it's 40% tax rate, plus you've got to pay national insurance. And I actually misspoke on a few shows earlier in the summer because I went on to an accountancy website and they calculated it wrong. It is nearer to £500,000 a week. Yes, you're bang on. It is.
So when Rio's on national radio or his podcast saying go and get Osimhen, this is the sort of stuff that it's great, and some people like it and some people in the chat like it, but for me, I call it low level football conversation, and football has moved on so much in the last decade away from that. When I was growing up, this is what you used to have to put up with. You put Match of the Day on and that's all you got. And the only other conversation was with your mates down the park or at school. Nowadays, you've got communities like this. There's, really good blogs, etc. And Rio sat there this morning saying Man United should be signing Osimhen. I would love us to sign Osimhen. I've said it myself. I've literally said it myself. But in the last few days, we've been told, and Fabrizio's confirmed it this morning, the only reason he's not coming to the Premier League is because Osimhen won't change his wage demands. And his wage demands are basically 425k a week. Now, I want Osimhen. I'd give him 300k a week. I would not give him 425k a week, and nobody would. So there's no point talking about Osimhen. That's my message to Rio. Really good player. I'm not ridiculing the Osimhen, but go and find the facts. They're not hard to find. He turned down Saudi. He's not going to be on. And look, some people would say, well, he should come to Man United on 200k a week. Why? Why would you do that? The risk on your career is so big. I think if you want Osimhen, you offer him 300 grand a week and we say we're Man United. I don't think we would offer him that, but I would have gone to 300k a week. You can't easily. I'd go 300k a week, and some people might say I'm mad, but I wouldn't. You can't go 425. You can't.
This is the thing for me, right? So I get people want us to be ruthless in the transfer window when it comes to sales, but for me, not at the behest of letting Sancho go for a loss, not at the behest of not maximizing as much profit as possible on Rashford, not for letting Anthony leave on a loss. A lot of people want Højlund gone, and I get the message is confusing because we'll sell him if we sign a new striker. Laurie Whitwell saying he's probably going to leave, but the player saying he wants to stay. Of course he wants to stay. He's a Man United fan. Of course he wants to be here. But equally, we'd be stupid to let Højlund go at a loss because this behaviour is part of what's led us to where we are. Equally, paying absorbent amounts of wages to a player that's just joining, we've been burnt by this so many times. And I'm not saying that at no point in the future should we not spend 300, 400K a week on a player. But I think at this delicate stage of us rebuilding, we've done it before with Di Maria. We've done it with Alexis Sanchez. We've given too many players massive contracts when they've renewed at the club. The reason we're struggling to get rid of Sancho is because we put him on 250, 260K a week and it didn't work out. We have to learn from these mistakes. And I saw a tweet from somebody the other day and it was so accurate. I can't find it now. I didn't bookmark it. And she said 2003 to 2024. And I think this will resonate with you, Mark. She said, Man United fans complained that we didn't negotiate even minor wins. We sold too cheaply. We overpaid on salary and we were buying too many of our managers' ex-players. I thought that was quite fair. And she said, fast forward to 2005, we're moaning that the manager's not buying his ex-players and we're moaning that we're trying to negotiate. And some of these same fans are happy to see the club sell players at a loss. And that's for me where the balance has got to be right. I think it's okay to criticize the club for not, being in a bad financial situation where you can't afford Osimhen or we're not in a position where we can do that. I think it's fine to go, we should have got this negotiation done quicker. That isn't the same as saying, I want to sell all the players at a loss and let's just pay whatever players want to be paid to join us. Because for me, they are the same mistakes we made that led us to being in this financial hole at the very least we're in. So when I listen to Rio Ferdinand, again, as a footballer, I respect him. As a man and a father, I've seen some stuff. He looks really great at that. I've got no personal issue with him. And why would I? I don't know the man. But I always think this kind of conversation is it's like the net spend conversation. For so many years, the big names and the pundits and the media pushed it. Only now we're talking about the real thing, which is pure profit. And it frustrates me when I hear this because, yes, the transfer fee isn't bad, but that isn't the main focus of a football club. Clubs spend almost double every year on wages and they do transfer fees. And we need the professional pundits, the journalists and the media to be telling the supporters, the everyday supporters like you and me, they need to be telling us the real reason that clubs care about the salary, why it's more important to focus on. And yeah, for me, it's a terrible take. It's a very misleading surface take, which I don't think is good for a very volatile and upset fan base at the moment, personally. I think it's not good.
I saw it yesterday. I knew Galatasaray were moving forward on Osimhen, and I did see probably what Rio saw, to be fair. I saw this whole £50 million bid. And you know what I did before the 8 o'clock show is I went researching what the wages were. Because I thought I can't go live at 8 o'clock and say, we've got to be all over that for 50 million, which is exactly what Rio's done.
Yeah.
Because I know you've got to go and find the wages because that's the key thing. And unfortunately, they don't. Because it's not the headline, is it then? Like you can say United. And I'm the biggest critic of United, but you can't pay 425K a week.
Well, you can't, right? And you get comments like this. It's a football club, not a financial institution. The owners lack ambition. It isn't about that per se. You give Osimhen that amount of money. It means every contract renewal goes up. Every other new player wants more money. The issue is, forget ambition for a moment. It's not about ambition. I'd love, ambition-wise, I'll reveal this. I'd love to have a show that is shot in a studio that looks as clean as the overlap. Better content, but looks as clean as that. It's the ambition. I don't have the money to fulfill that ambition. So it isn't about not having ambition. You have to work within your means. I'll give you an example of what happens when you spend over your means. You have to make 250 to 300 people redundant. When you increase your revenue by 100 million, but you then increase your outgoings by 200 million, people lose their jobs. Mark runs businesses. I run businesses. If we employ too many people where we're losing money, at some point, people or everyone will lose their jobs. So it isn't about lacking ambition. It's about being sensible when we're in this financial state. And remember, Ineos can't just pay the debt off and then spend it on players and salary and transfers. You're not allowed to. PSR will then just deduct it and you'll get fined and lose those points you gain. So I'm not defending them because I like them, but we've got to speak in facts here. We can't sit here and just make up something that doesn't exist. It's not about a lack of ambition. It's about a lack of ability. Why do we lack the money? Because we've overspent and undersold for 12 years. How do we solve that? By acting the right way. This is why it was never going to be a quick fix, my friend. So I don't want to defend Ineos, but the Saudis come in, unless they pay the debt off straight away, right? The Qataris come in, they pay the debt off straight away. And Elon Musk comes in. That's the only way it would have worked, is if the debt was gone within the purchase of the club being bought. If it's done afterwards, that gets subsidized. This super chat here says Goldbridge asked why no one wants Rashford. Here's why: 157 games, 147 goals, 0.32 goals per game, 83 assists, 0.81 per game, a goal every 206 minutes, 2 shots per game, 43% shot accuracy, 49% dribble success, XG plus XA every 141 minutes. Simply not worth the massive wages.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that bad. But look, if I was, as I said, if I was the chairman of Brighton, I would be making a phone call. The problem is he wouldn't want to come, and he wouldn't take the wage cut, and that's the problem. I think he thinks he's at a higher level than he is, which is why Barcelona are saying you're gonna have to wait and see if we can get anything better before we come to you.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think he's definitely going to have to wait. He's definitely going to have to wait for that deal. He's very good, Rashford, but we've created that problem, and I say we. The Woodwards of this world, the Glazers who put them in charge, giving this man, Myrtles and co, giving this man 250 to 300k a week was a massive mistake. It just is. And hindsight, yes, at the time he was scoring goals, he was looking good, but hindsight's lucrative. The fact that the world isn't bending over backwards to sign him, doesn't matter how good I thought he was, doesn't matter how bad Joe Bloggs thinks he was. The reality is no one is willing to pay a £40 million fee and those wages right now. They're not bending over backwards. So you're right there, Adele. Thank you, Luke, for encouraging everybody to hit the like button, please. Thank you very much. Heartbroken at the moment. At least I have you two. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? That's a nice. Oh, good. Well, thank you, mate. Look,